Good morning and welcome to Making Sense of It. This program is brought to you by the Glasser Institute for Choice Theory, and each week we have a certified member of the Glasser Institute to present a concept to us so that you can see it and just kind of take it apart and see how it works so proficiently. So our speaker, welcome to everyone that is here, and remember that our live audience stay after we close the recording and we'll have a discussion. So answer questions, or you can ask questions or make comments. In the meantime, Wendall Walker is our speaker for today. And Wendall, are you there?
I am here, Mona. Ich bin ici.
We are ready when you are.
Okay, thank you kindly. I was in the Air Force sent me to Indiana University Business School, and then I took business classes undergraduate and in an MBA program too. And you get an exposure to a lot of different management theories and concepts. And some of those are well researched, and some of them we get in, I'll call it a little bit more of a pop literature approach to. Remember, who was the one that did the 7 Habits series of books? Somebody remember that?
Stephen Covey.
Yeah, Covey. There you go, Covey. And so one of his books was the 7 Habits of Successful Managers. In business school, I remember too, one of the things that I liked that would be compatible with Glasser's approach to boss versus lead management was Douglas McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y. And that's based on a supervisor's belief that people are intrinsically lazy and you have to watch them all the time, monitor them every minute. You micromanage is what it would be. And you have to just dog them there. Uh-oh, my hands were moving.
Put on your hands.
Then the theory Y is that people are intrinsically motivated and want to do well. And if you train them and give them a picture of the direction that you're going in, and they agree to sign on, then they can do the job, too. And there's some others, but it's interesting to me then. One of the things I like about Glasser's approach, let me give you this. If you drew a circle in the middle of a piece of paper and just said choice theory, what we've done, we've evolved from Glasser's reality therapy to management, to families, to counseling, schools, and what have you. If you do a circle in the middle of your page and you put choice theory, then the application of choice theory to counseling, if you drew an arm out, would be called reality therapy. Another arm going out to schools would be called the quality school model. And another arm would be out to relationships, one-on-one relationships, friendships, more intimate relationships. And another might go out to families, another out to organizations and businesses. But choice theory is the heart of everything that Glasser stands for today. And so I like it that his model of boss management versus lead management is based on that. And then choice theory is the antithesis of external control psychology. And so what we have, a boss manager is an external control psychology person, and the lead manager is a choice theory thinking person too. And so there we go. Mona has put, this is from the handout that I sent her, and these ideas on Glasser's book. And earlier, he wrote the control theory. Oh, we have an R missing, the control theory manager, 1994. It was called the control theory manager because he had not changed the name to choice theory. So we could take that book and just change control theory to choice theory. Let's go through these now. Mona, we're ready to go. I'm going to use the Mona Duncan KISS method, KISS, keep it simple, sister, or keep it simple, Simon. Nice, simple stated phrases that people, I like to give these handouts to people. I like them to stand on their own. They, later on, if they read them, they'll make sense. They don't have to have all kind of other stuff. So that's what Mona does. She makes nice lists of things for approaching different situations. She talks about them a little bit and then kind of moves on. Well, the boss manager believes that people are externally motivated and you've got to be kind of down on them, watching, telling, showing, criticizing, whatever. And the lead manager believes that people are internally motivated. Another phrase that we may hear sometimes is intrinsically motivated or extrinsically motivated. Another phrase is people with an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. People that believe they don't have much control over their life, people who believe they have choices. And the boss manager, and you might think about this, I'm talking kind of in a general management terms here, but you might think of this in a family, in a classroom, in a small shop, in a large organization, politically. We see, we have some good examples of these things in all those areas. If you had somebody who thought of himself generally as the head of the household, then he's got this kind of a mentality, trying to tell everybody else. But that person thinks you can make people do what you want. And the lead manager knows that people always have a choice. So you've got to make sense of this. All right, we're going to the next one. So a nice phrase here. Boss manager drives people, is always pushing and shoving and driving them, and the lead manager leads them. Simple phrase. The boss manager relies on his or her authority. I even hesitate to say her. In my own experience, I don't have, if you said this is a boss manager, what gender do you think the person was? I'd make a guess on male, but that's my experience. Okay. The lead manager relies on team cooperation there, and not somebody dictating policy and others following. And this is a good one. The boss manager says, I demand it. And the other one says, we, talking as a team leader, so to speak. All right. And the boss management milieu, there's a lot of fear, because if I don't do exactly what needs to be done, there are penalties. And they generally tell us too, if you want to continue working here, then, you better get on the stick here. And the other person, the lead manager, is creating confidence. This is what we want to do. This is a good direction to go in. You know how to do it. I'm going to give you the resources that you need, and we're going to be successful on here. If we run into glitches, we'll deal with them. Okay. So the boss manager quite often is the only person that kind of knows how and tells everybody, sometimes detail, I want you to do this, 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 and this. Even if you've learned the this, and this at a previous time, but they're going to, again, micromanage is a good phrase here. And then the lead manager shows how. There was a nice little phrase that'll, a lot of these things overlap. Tell me I forget, show me I remember, but involve me and I understand. It's a nice phrase. It's global for kinds of learning and relationship things. Okay. Well, the boss manager is quick to fix the blame. And the lead manager says, well, let's fix the problem. We might need to deal with something later on if there was a significant violation of a guideline or a rule or absolute rule or way to do things, but we want to fix the problem first, but the other that. And then you can see in an environment where fear is easily created and fixing the blame, then there's resentment and there's caution too. Mona, I'm going to give you a freebie here if you want to use it. Mona's mantras. You have a lot of wonderful short sayings that are just they capture thoughts. So you could put them together in Mona's mantras. No charge here. There's no fee. No finder's fee for me. But this person creates a resentment. The other person breeds, and in the resentment, people do just what they're told, and usually not much more. Whereas in a lead management environment, the leader encourages things and is positive, and there's enthusiasm, and there's people who will inquire, can I do this, or let me try this. They're thinking. I know what it was. Your Mona. One idea on Mona's mantras would be people have infinite creative ability, unless it's been kind of squashed down to. In this boss manager environment, people don't look forward to going to work. It's drudgery. It's not fun. It's boring. They'll show up barely on time, and the very second that the clock hits 5 o'clock, they're gone. Over at this other place, it's an interesting place to work. It's challenging, and whether it's a classroom or a workplace or a school, a class at school, the boss manager directs everything. The vision comes down from way above, and then they set all the tasks. I want you to do this, 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 and this. The lead manager says, this is the direction that we're going. It's our vision. And then encourages people to submit ideas for getting there in that direction too. The boss manager, or again, the micromanaging, would inspect work and evaluate others, along with a reality therapy self-evaluation technique. The lead manager would teach people and then encourage them to self-evaluate. In fact, if you had a lead manager with an employee who is uncertain about themselves, and they say, boss, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this all right? Well, what do you say? Is that what I asked you to do? Yeah? All right, well, good. I'll take a look at it later. I don't have to look at every bit. Are you happy with your work? Well, yes. Well, good. I'm glad for that, but I don't have to look at every single thing that you do. The boss manager uses rewards, coercion, and punishment. And boy, just think about the classroom. Boy, if you don't sit down and behave, I'm calling your parents. Ooh, okay. Well, a kid like me years ago, if I had been out of line, I'd have shut up right quickly and complied. Today, the kid says, here's my phone. My parents are speed dial number 3. I don't care. And then they don't know what to do with a person like that who's not succumbing to their reward and coercion. Those of you, Mona and Sharon, especially, maybe Jim, Cohen, Alfie Cohen, rewarding to control. Reward is coercion. And so we think if we quit criticizing, blaming, and shaming people, but we reward them, that now we're doing well, it's still a form of control rather than people finding intrinsic reasons to do the job. And it works. The boss manager ends up becoming adversarial with people. It's just, even if they don't indicate it with their verbal behavior or their actions and so forth, you'll see it. They're reluctant. The lead manager is collaborative. It's just night and day, the difference there. All right. The boss manager never wants to, excuse me, boss, what do you think, Walker? Just do it my way, okay? Well, this will come up later. It's not interesting. I remember a situation where a brand new school principal, elementary school principal, probably had 40 staff members, teachers, and then another staff in the building came in, and they're now going to change, and we're going to go in this direction. And the school had been going in a very good direction. But this one person knows more than all the other 30 put together. And we get that in all sorts of organizations, political things too. But the boss manager does not want to hear from people. They just want to see that they do what they've told. The lead manager at times, now depending on what kind of a time crunch you got, you don't always do a committee thing and a democratic process, but you set it up and kind of get going, and then you find a time to invite and listen to employee input. The boss manager believes that other people create problems, and the lead manager, this is a systems mentality, that the system itself creates the problem, the way it's set up. We hear a lot about systemic racism, systemic whatever, systemic waste, and on financial things too. And so a lot of people believe that making changes in the system, and this is a big part of Glasser's quality school stuff, is changing the way the system kind of works, okay? And the boss managers are know-it-all. And the lead manager says, I know a lot and you know a lot. Let's put our heads together. 1 plus 7 is 15, rather than 1 plus 0 is 1, something like that too. I may have mentioned this in a previous conversation. I saw a cartoon one time that said it was in a cemetery, and there was the stone monument there. Here lies the mind, M-I-N-D, of John Doe, who quit thinking at age 30 and just kind of zoomed on out, And boy, and a know-it-all is a person like that. They're very difficult to deal with. It takes a lot of skills too. The boss manager says, do it my way. One of the popular, familiar things is my way or the highway, and the lead manager says, I've got some ideas, but I'd like to hear yours first. And then I'll put them all together and we'll make a decision. I'll make a decision about what we're going to do. Boy, there's nothing more rewarding than like a team meeting. And then the boss says, so, okay, all right, well, I've got your ideas. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I like Mary Jane's idea. I hadn't even thought of that before. And I don't know that we would have if we hadn't had this brainstorming discussion. And let's try Mary Jane's idea. So that means tomorrow we're going to start doing this and this. And if anybody has any questions, ask her about some of the particulars. But to have your idea implemented to use to be acknowledged is particularly satisfying. And look at the needs that would be satisfied with that, the need for power, relationships. The boss manager doesn't have a lot of care at all about the employee's wants or needs. You're here, I pay you to work here. That's what you're here for, and I don't care whether you like it or not, or whether you're hard pressed for whatever. You're here. Let's just get this done. I'm interested in what I want and what the organization wants. The smart lead manager wants to know about employees' needs and wants. Wants more particular, because we have a theory that tells us their general needs. All right, and then would look for opportunities to help people get the things they want while working toward the organizational directions and mission too. So the boss manager is going to try to change workers to comply with this inadequate or inefficient system. The lead manager is going to try to help improve the system itself, that might things go a better way. There was a phrase way back, close enough for government work. You know, hey, is that done? Yeah, I'm done with it. Well, is this okay? It's close enough. Okay. And there may be times when you've got time constraints and it's not impacting world security, relationship, whatever, that you don't have time to do everything perfectly, but you want it to be as good as you can. I like the regularly people are saying strive for excellence or quality and not for perfection. When you get to know my friend Roy here, that's a little different. Roy is an inventor, inventing electronic tennis and pickleball scoreboards. And if you're going to be in the market and ask for people's money, it's got to be absolutely perfect. So that's a different goal there. But this boss manager would get very little quality. Is that done? That's done. Let me see. Here it is here. Okay. And I could have done more, but then of course, then I have to take responsibility for myself. That, you know, I go to lunch with you and say, Wendell, how about your project there? Hi, David. Hi, Ron. We go to lunch and you say, did you get that project finished? I did. What did you do that? Yeah, I did. I did enough to satisfy him. I could have done more. And of course, what kind of a person do I want to be? I want to be a person that just does enough to get by. I want to be a person that's true to my own kind of values, trying to do a quality job. And you like the kind of people on your team or around you that, you know, if you're not watching and looking over them, that they're going to do the job right, whether you inspect it or not. You just count on it. Well, then, the boss manager gets very little quality. The lead manager encourages, invites, and models and acknowledges the quality from people. And it's an infectious, contagious, contagious typically has kind of a negative concept. Oh, this is contagious. But I think something positive can be contagious too. It's an infectious, contagious, invigorating atmosphere to be on a team where people all respect each other and they all contribute ideas, and you can count on them to do their part and to support you, and you support them too. So one of the things, in wrapping up now on the boss management versus lead management model here, is that this has a well thought out and common sense psychology of human behavior behind it. A lot of the others are techniques and strategies to use, and they'll have a vague little psychological foundation or a guess. But this is all based on Dr. Glasser's choice theory, so it just makes sense. That's why he wants people to learn choice theory, because if I learn choice theory and I really have taken it into my system, I'm going to be better at managing people. If I'm a team leader, I'm going to be a better team member with others, part of a committee to do things. I'm going to be a better spouse, a better friend in a relationship, all of those things, because it's at the core of things too. So as Elvis would say, thank you. Oh no, that's Groucho Marx. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, Wendell, I have a question for you.
You said there'd be a round of applause at the end of the
okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. You're talking about the boss manager, and it kind of seems like that's a personality type. So are you saying that the more aggressive, the more eager personality type can learn to be a lead manager and be even more effective than bossing?
I don't think I said that, but
No, I inferred it.
yeah,
And
you read between the lines. They say,
yes, I
put
did.
that down as one of Mona's mantras.
Well, I have worked under a person like that.
Yeah, well, people can. And some of us report changes in our own way of dealing with folks and our own management and our own relationship with kids and stuff like that. And people, especially people with a choice theory mentality, they're not so afraid to say, you know what, I used to do it this way. Well, Brad Green was kind of our #1 quality school trainer for the Glasser Institute for several years. He was doing 30 to 35 intensive weeks of training a year in a different school setting, all around, okay? And he had been a principal in the Apollo School in the Los Angeles area. That was an alternative high school where they sent all the kids that were picked out of the other schools, and they sent the faculty in the other place. He had, quote, the dregs, the thing. And he said, I used to be a boss manager. You know, tell people it was my job to get this school running well, you know. And he got it running quite decent, better than it was. And then he got exposed to Glasser and choice theory, and think the Apollo school that was once thought of like this became the school of choice. The parents wanted their kids to go to that school. So he was a great example. I wouldn't have necessarily called him aggressive, but you made a nice categorization. One way to talk about people is aggressive, assertive, and passive. And so there's a big parallel between aggressive and boss managers. And where would you put passive people in terms of boss or lead managers?
Well, you gave us something to think about. And so
Right.
I would encourage anyone to listen to this again. And if you see yourself either as a parent or as a neighbor or as a worker being under the boss management type of personality, that you give some serious thinking as to how I could soften it a little bit so that we could be more relatable with each other and therefore more successful. So thank each of you for being here. We'll go ahead and close out for now and stay around and we'll chit chat. Many blessings.